You're listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast with holistic entrepreneurs Mandi and Kathleen Hupp. Tune in each Wednesday to discuss holistic approaches to a happier, more fulfilling life and glittery distractions from the mundane. Nothing is off limits in this series, so grab your glass of champagne or your shot of wheatgrass and prepare for complete and fabulous chaos.
Thanks for tuning in again this week. This is Kathleen and Mandi, and we are discussing minimalism this week, how to declutter your life and your mind.
This is definitely something I need to be doing.
Yes.
This is so perfect for the new year. So we're so excited to share a little bit on this topic. We've dove in and did a little bit of research and going to share how we can make little changes and live this ideal minimalist lifestyle.
Yeah, and why it's important.
Yeah, we're going to talk about, why we should do it, how even like the media has been changing the perception of minimalism. You know, it used to be big cribs, big mansions, big yachts. Everyone wanted more shopping. And now we're being given these like awesome documentaries, shows like the tiny houses, the KonMari method now going viral on Netflix. The whole media is shifting into this, how can we be simple mindset?
I saw this interview recently. It was kind of a rapid fire question. I forget who does it, but they do it with a lot of celebrities. And he was interviewing Donatella Versace at the time. And his question was a trend that you hate. And off the bat, like without batting an eyelash, she was like minimalism.
Oh my gosh.
Because I guess that means people are buying fewer of her clothes because they're like, no, I have enough, thank you. And she was like, I hate this.
A true entrepreneur right there.
Yeah, it was so fast. She was like minimalism.
Well, it's crazy because if anyone listens to Gary Vee, do you know who he is?
No.
He's like this really outspoken, kind of like empowerment speaker, but very smart businessman. And I just watched something today where he talked about how the whole world is going to this simple mindset and big box stores are just going away. And he was saying like 7-Eleven and convenience stores, like they're going to go away with because the simplest way to order food or to order products is to click, buy on Amazon. It gets to your door in an hour. Why would anyone drive down the street to go buy anything anymore?
Right.
People just
don't have time. Like Toys R Us went by for that reason.
Yeah. So you have the simplest mindset where people are trying to minimize and buy less so they can live happier. But then also the way that we're buying is also minimalizing too, right? Instead of getting in your car and wasting gas and driving to the store and spending all that time and money, we're minimizing by just saying, you know what, I'll sit on my couch, click and buy it. It shows up.
Yeah. It is a big time saver because that's a huge thing too. I feel like in the society, everyone is trying to stay so busy, or whether they're trying to or it's just happening to them. Everyone is so busy. It's almost like every minute of every day is planned and they don't have time to just pause and watch the world go by or, lay on the beach and watch the clouds. Like everyone is just booked back to back. And so that's when, Amazon and things like that come in handy.
Yep.
When they can save time and maybe unwind a little bit when they would normally be grocery shopping.
Yeah, I think that's like what it inspired us to talk about minimalism because a lot of people hear minimalism and they think of just like, throwing away things they don't need, right? It's like the material things. But minimalism is more of like a mindset, right? It's like a way of life. It's a lifestyle. It's a thought process of not only minimizing the physical possessions, but also minimizing our activities and our relationships and excess, space fillers that we don't need. And it's so much more than just like the physical purging of things. It's like a mindset, right?
Yeah. A mindful mind is a happy mind, and it can only be mindful if it's decluttered.
Right.
So, I mean, it's everything. It's like you said, all of those things. And then everything in your phone, like your messages, your emails, like it can get bogged down very quickly.
Yeah.
And that just weighs on your brain. So
the whole thing that we want to talk about today is like why minimalize, how it changes our mentality. We're going to dive into a little bit of like research on how your mind will shift if you live a more minimalistic lifestyle. And then also we're going to talk about at the end how you can go through each room, some tips and tricks in each room of your house and spaces in your life that you can minimize and make it really simple and maybe live this more simple, joyful life and have time for relationships and time for the things that truly make you happy. So that is what today is all about. So let's start out with a 1 to 10. Out of 1 to 10, 1 being super minimalistic, to 10 being like overspender, more is better mentality. Where do you fall as a minimalist?
Oh, that's a good one. I think right now I'm probably smack in the middle with a 5.
Okay.
But a year and a half ago, I was probably more like a 2.
Oh, really?
And then before that, I was a 10.
Oh my gosh. So you went from really, really spending and living that like typical standard American
want more, give it to me,
to just dropping it all and being like, I don't need anything.
Yeah.
Is that when you moved? Was that like a big part of it?
Oh yeah. So Nate and I moved to Florida. We were about to open a juice bar, and that's when I dreadlocked my hair. I'm telling you, I went full Monty on just this lifestyle, this simple life. And so we kind of had a freedom of time when it was like we were our own boss. And so I think that had a lot to do with it. And we also were moving across the country in one car, and we didn't want to spend a lot of money, shipping stuff. And we didn't have that many valuable things or things that we couldn't let go anyway. So it just, made us get rid of everything. And we donated most of it. And then we became just so much more clear-headed and happy, and we didn't need a lot. And we moved into this tiny house, and it was just a 1-bedroom. It was almost more like a studio, but it was like a standalone house. And we just didn't have anything. So our parents were giving us dishes and stuff. So we had, I think, 4 plates and 4 forks and 4 butter knives and 1 pot, and that was about it. But we were so happy. I think that's the happiest time of my life.
I love that.
But anyway, so we were very much like a 2 at that stage. And then it got to the point where we would have guests come over for a few days and we would have nothing. I think one time my mother-in-law came with my sister-in-law, and they were like, let's make cookies. And I was like, yeah, that sounds like so much fun. And they were like, okay, where is your mixing bowl? And I was like, I don't have one.
Oh my gosh.
And they were like, okay, we'll just use this pot. That's cool. And they were like, where's your mixer? And I was like, I don't have that either. And they were like, what about a spatula? I was like, nope. And so anyway, we ended up having to go borrow stuff from a neighbor. But at that point, that was kind of the turning point when I was like, okay, I could use a few more things, not going crazy, but just practical things that I'll use.
Right.
So now we're kind of in the middle ground. But
but you're catching yourself,
simple.
you're aware, which is nice.
Yeah. And we don't want too much. And we, for Christmas and stuff, we don't ask for gifts. We ask actually not for gifts. We'd rather exchange experiences with people or a trip or something. And so we're very much aware of what comes in the front door, and we don't allow everything.
That's amazing.
Okay. So question back to you, 1 to 10.
Okay. I think I'm a 9, 8 or 9. I'm very much in that mindset, but I'm becoming so much more aware of it. And I'm hoping in this year, by the end of this year, I'll be a 4.
Yeah.
Because same thing with me. When I moved across the country, I didn't have a lot of stuff. I moved from Wisconsin to college in upstate New York. So I didn't bring a lot with me to college, of course. And then you live in a dorm room with someone else. You have a tiny little space that you're sharing with another human. And you definitely can't collect a lot of things when you're just a broke college kid.
Nope.
And then when I moved to Florida, I didn't have a lot either. It just whatever I could fit in my car. But now that I've lived in Florida 10 years and I'm an adult and I've made good money and I've worked really hard, I've always wanted to have that big house and have all the stuff in a closet full of clothes. And I have all that. But I've noticed, like you said, my happiest time is when I first moved to Florida and I had this little studio apartment on the beach. It was so tiny. I barely had any things. I had a tiny little closet of my favorite clothes. And now I'm am I really happier? No, there's just more stuff everywhere.
Yes.
So I've totally just recognized it and been aware of it. And now I'm ready to just throw everything away. And it's so weird. My husband thinks I'm crazy. He's like, who is this woman that wants to live in a 1-bedroom again? But it's crazy. We went from, our bedroom is really big. It has a lot of space in it. We have an attached bathroom and closets and all that. This last week, because I think that there's mold in our bedroom and our bathroom, and that's contributing to my health.
Oh no.
So we have been sleeping in our spare bedroom, which is teeny tiny. It's literally an office with a pull-out trundle bed. And we've both been sleeping in there the last week. I can't even tell you how much better I'm sleeping.
Really?
And I'm wondering if it's like bringing me back to like my college days or like my little condo days when it's like this little tiny room makes me feel like safe and I'm in this little bubble, a cocoon. It's so weird. So I'm like, wow, I kind of wouldn't mind just having a smaller bedroom.
Yeah. And it's also less to keep clean.
Oh, totally. It's like mentally pleasing to have like organized, clean, small spaces.
Yeah.
Which I think is why we're so attracted to these shows, right? You said you watched a documentary, and I've been watching like the tiny houses and the people who's like living in like a van, and they've got everything they need and they seem so happy.
Yes. There's funny. There are all these van life packing lists, like to, I guess, how to maximize efficiency in such a tiny space. And so I try to use those rules in our own kitchen when we can, but, this one I don't abide by, but they say don't have spoons, just have bowls, because like if you're eating soup or something, anything you would need a spoon for, just drink it out of the bowl. But that I do have spoons, so I don't go that far. But they have, just one skillet or one pot type thing.
Yeah.
And that does everything. You can like cook your eggs in that, your meat in that, or soup or whatever. Just like one pot instead of a million different shapes and sizes.
I agree with that because we have a cast iron skillet and we're obsessed with our cast iron, and it's pretty much the only one we use all the time.
Exactly.
But I have a drawer full of like 10 other skillets. Why? I don't know. I'm learning.
I know. It's wild. And again, the gifts come into play because like my husband and I think we've only bought one or two things ourselves for the kitchen, and everything else has just been gifted or someone's handing it down, and they're like, we don't want to, give this away. Do you want it? Or, we don't want to trash it. And we're like, well, so we've gotten better about turning things down. But at first we were just taking everything that was offered. Mm-hmm. And then we were like, what happened to our house?
Right.
We didn't want this.
What's the documentary called that you watched?
So that one's interesting. It's, something about like living on $1 or $1 a day or something.
Was it like Netflix or?
Yeah, it's on Netflix.
Okay.
And these 4 guys after college moved to Guatemala. And in that area, I guess wages are really unpredictable because they don't know when work is going to be available. So some days they might not be able to find any jobs to do for anybody, and they might make $0. Wow. The next day they might make 50 cents. The next day they might make $1.50. But I mean, it's just insane. Like the income there is just so unpredictable and so low to begin with. So these 4 guys committed to going to Guatemala and living as the locals do. And they didn't take any money with them. I think if I remember right, they had like a backpack of like necessities.
Wow.
And yeah, they just had to get by. And at one point they were savoring this banana because that was all they could afford, and they were so hungry, and they were eating one banana, and I think they each had a banana or something, but they were like, you have no idea how good this banana tastes right now. They were like, we are so thankful for this banana.
That's insane.
Yeah,
I can't imagine.
Like, that made me think too. I was like, we are over consumers in our diet too. Like we eat way more than we need to.
Oh, and I buy stuff and throw it away before I even get to eating it. It's pathetic.
Like, I mean, so many times I eat just because I'm like, oh, it's around lunchtime, I should eat, but I'm not hungry. Like,
yeah.
So I mean, in almost in every way of life in America, like we overconsume. So it's really, once you get into this minimalist mindset, you'll notice it in many different areas.
Yeah, it's like it literally is a mentality, right? Like we were looking up like how it actually changes your mental. And I found this quote, and it says, once you've committed to living with less, you begin looking for ways to spend your time, not just what you can buy next. And I was like, wow, that makes so much sense. If you're constantly thinking, do I need this really? Then you're not like worrying about, oh, I got to go buy this or go to the store for that or go buy, you might have a whole pantry full of food. Why are you running to the store to go buy something else when you have what you need already at home? And that happens to us all the time. Like my husband will be like, I'm going to stop at Publix and get food. And I'm like, no, literally, like come home and look in the cabinets. Like you've got food.
We're prepared.
Just eat that first.
Yeah. And it's funny. I think a lot of times people shop out of boredom or emotion. Mm-hmm. And, if you've previously made the decision not to shop because you don't want to accumulate more things, then when you get bored or when you get emotion, you have to deal with that in more creative ways.
Yes.
So that often leads to like reading a book or going for a walk or doing something that will better you.
Yep. I've taken that challenge for Lent every year. I try to like follow the Lent and give up something for 40 days. And I've done everything from like fast food back when I was like 19 years old to, you know, all sorts of things, you know, the typical Lent season stuff. But one I did that was so mind blowing to me was not shopping for 40 days, unless it was food. I mean, I had to buy food.
Right.
So unless something was like a life or death necessity to buy, I didn't buy it. And it was really challenging because there'd be things that would come up in my life where I would need something, but I couldn't go buy it. And I got resourceful. I would like call my friends and be like, hey, do you have like a white shirt that I could borrow for this event? Or if it was something for the house, you know, like a pot or something I didn't have, instead of just running to the store to buy it, I borrowed it and then gave it back. And then by the time I needed it the next time, it was like after Lent season, or I would totally forget that I needed it and never needed it again. So like that white shirt, I maybe didn't even really want to wear ever again.
Yeah.
So that whole thing just opened up my mind that I don't need to buy it all. I can borrow it or just, do I really need it? Right? Ask myself, do I really need that?
Yeah. I did that once recently with borrowing a dress. I mean, I haven't done that since college, but just recently, Justine, if you're listening, thank you. But I was going to an event with her and I was like, hey, do you have a dress I can borrow? Like, I really don't want to buy anything new and everything in here is like not right for this event. And she was like, yeah. So she brought something perfect and
it worked out.
Yeah, I was so glad that I didn't go out and waste money on something I probably would only wear once.
Yeah. It just opens up that whole, like you said, minimalist lifestyle and thought process. And then the other quote I found, it said, so when you have a minimalist mindset, you become a fierce and intentional gatekeeper about what you allow into your home and into your life.
Heck
so
yes.
I think that is really the whole premise of minimalism is you get to determine what comes in your life. You become intentional about it. You're the gatekeeper. You keep the things out that you don't need. And that's not just material things, but also like time and relationships, right? Like you just realize I don't need all these acquaintances. I just want to have serious friends.
Right.
And that allows your energy to be directed really hard and really lovable into the people in your life.
Right.
Instead of just like a little energy to this person and a little bit to that coworker and a little bit to this person, you can take all that energy you have and just really give a lot of yourself to just a few people. And that's more impactful, I think.
Oh yeah. That's huge.
I love that. So I'm like, okay, I'm on board. That's why I'm trying to go from a 9 to like a 5 or 4.
We're scaling down.
I'm scaling down. I'm convinced this is happening.
But yeah, being a gatekeeper of what comes into your life and your mind and your relationships, like you said, that's huge. And I realized that I think with horror films, because I'm super sensitive to them. I do not like horror films, but I found that they were depressing me. Like, and I've never watched that many, but the ones that I did are still with me today. Like,
isn't that crazy?
Still haunt me.
Me
and
too.
Those images, once you see something, no matter what it is, it's in your brain forever. Like there's no erase button to be like, oh, let's just take that out. So, I mean, whatever you see, think, hear, your relationships, whatever you say with people, like those things will be with you forever. So you have to be a diligent gatekeeper.
Yeah.
And you know, who cares what people think? If you have to say no, say no.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing, you know, like reading about minimalism too, and noticing that it's like almost like a social thing too. You know, people want to buy more so they can fit in more, so they can have more friends, and then they can spend more time doing all these things. And it's like this slippery slope, right? Like it's all connected together. And so once you just say like, I don't care what other people think, I just want to live simply and calmly and peacefully, you actually tend to attract more of that into your life. You know, more peaceful people, more simple people. It's crazy how that law of attraction works, even with the minimalist lifestyle.
Yeah.
So I'm loving that. So we should kind of leave people with some ideas, right? Things that we've done around the house that maybe if you don't know where to start, I think it's always difficult to make a change, right? The concept is so good. I mean, you might watch tiny houses on, you know, HGTV, you might watch a documentary on people that are living out of their van, and you think to yourself, that's so cool. I wish I could do that. But Kathleen and I are like big advocates for like, don't just wish it, but just start implementing it. You don't have to be as dramatic and move out of your house into like a shed.
Right.
But if you can implement these little things in your life, it's a start, right? Gets the ball rolling. So
yeah,
we definitely want to share what what we've done to kind of start incorporating that. So how about we do that? You want to just go through like every room in our house and give a few tips and tricks of what we've done?
Yeah, I like your kitchen example. So,
okay. So in the kitchen, once I really started thinking about like, how am I going to minimize my kitchen? Because I think that's an area in our home where we all overdo it. I mean, come on, the infomercials talk us into every gadget, right? If you turn on like Home Shopping Network, you turn on any like...
It's like you've never been able to open a carton of milk before, but now... we found out how.
You could do it with your eyes closed and your hands behind your back.
Because we have a new tool.
Yeah, and that's like the space in my home. I just slowly, since we moved in 4 years ago, I find my countertops are just getting more cluttered. Like when we moved, I look at pictures when we moved in, right? And it was like, we just had one knife block and a KitchenAid mixer and a coffee maker and some tea. Yeah. Now, if you look at my countertops, I'm like, what the heck happened here? So for instance, we have 2 knife blocks, both full of knives, like 25 knives. Like A, why do I need to display 25 knives? And B, why do I even need that many? So what I did in my kitchen, and I totally encourage you guys to do the same, is pull out all your tools, kind of like the KonMari method. If you guys have watched it on Netflix, she says, pull everything out of the drawers. But here's my tip. Do you really need a pineapple corer, an apple cutter, a pizza cutter, like all these tools that do the same thing? They cut things.
Yes.
So you need one knife.
Yeah.
That's all you need is one knife.
Instead of 25 and instead of all those other tools.
I know. I had all these tools. I even had like a cheese grater knife thing. It's like the ones with the serrated edges that you can like make cute little designs in the cheese. Like,
oh, fancy.
It was so fancy. But I'm like, this is ridiculous. It's got to go.
Yeah.
And then I looked at like the pots. You know, our cast iron is our favorite. We can cook everything with it. With a cast iron, you have to clean it right away. So all these like dingy, grungy pans that I would never use, they had to go. I was like, we're done here.
Yeah.
So that is my 2 tricks. Do it with all your utensils. Do you really need all these cutting tools? And then 2 with the pots and pans.
Yes.
Do you have any ideas for the kitchen? Is there, like, I mean, you're great about not needing 15 glassware.
Yeah. Okay. So that's my big thing, is just minimizing the cups or the things to drink out of. We have 2 wine glasses and like 2 or 4 mason jars, which gets tricky when people come over. So, you know, we might go up to 4 wine glasses to be fancy, but we don't have like the whole wine glass and then champagne flute and then brandy sniffers and, you know, scotch glasses and
I'm so guilty of that.
And tea. And, you know, I mean, it's silly. Like just a couple things to drink out of. Whatever liquid it is can go in there. And yeah, so we're super simple, but I also have respect for like the opposite side. You know, when you want to have like a designated glass for each thing, I like that. I mean, it's traditional, it's old school. So,
but it gets to the point where like I have probably 15 coffee mugs. They don't match. There's random ones. There's like a set of 4 that match. And then I have like the coffee mug that I got for like a birthday present. And then one I have for Christmas. And then I have this one. It's like, I don't need all these coffee mugs.
Yeah.
I only drink a tea at night. I can rinse it, clean it, maybe 4 if someone comes over, but 15 is a little excessive.
Well, and I find when I have more dishes like that, then the dishwasher gets filled up.
Yes.
And then it's just, you know, a pain to like do all the dishes at the same time. But if I was just using one cup, then I would wash it as I go and it would be a lot more easy to stay on top of.
Yeah.
And less stressful.
That's what I notice in our house. It's just my husband and I, it's just the 2 of us. And I'm sure a lot of you guys can feel the same way. I talk to like women all the time and they're like, oh, our dishwasher, every night we have to run the dishwasher. Or it's like dishes are always piling up. Dishes in the sink, I think, is the most stressful thing that anyone can deal with in life, right?
I think
you come home and you see dishes everywhere. Half those dishes could be totally avoided just by like, if you drink your tea in the morning or your coffee, clean it out. And then put water in that same cup, right? Or like if you're going to have some orange juice, like who says you can't have orange juice in that cup, rinse it and have your water the rest of the day out of the same cup. Like I get wanting to clean your cup at night, maybe in the dishwasher or something, but like throughout that one day, you don't need to use 5 water glasses, you know? So we've been really diligent on like rinse the plate. And then like if you're going to have dessert, it can be on the same plate. Yes. Those little things. Babe. So yeah, those are simple things for the kitchen. Hopefully that helped you guys. And then also like we were talking about the food, right? Like not having a pantry full of a bunch of stuff that you'll get to, right? Like if you have food in the pantry, eat that for dinner before you go grocery shopping again. I think we like over grocery shop sometimes. It's that like fear of starvation. We're like, oh, I'll keep it for later. I'll keep that like canned good of vegetables for later.
Yeah.
Well, you bought it to eat it, and then eventually it goes bad, and I throw stuff away all the time.
And it's almost like the bigger the pantry, the more you want to fill it. Because for some reason, we don't like empty space.
I know.
We're like, oh, we have this big room. Let's buy stuff to put in it.
Oh my God. Even the closet too. I'm like, oh, I still have room.
Yeah.
I can go
Pack it in.
Exactly. So kitchen, hopefully that helps you guys. So what about bathrooms?
What about bathrooms, Mandy?
Oh my gosh. Well, any tricks for like, I mean, most of the time our bathrooms have all like our medicine cabinet stuff and body wash, and that's something I notice. Like the other day, oh my gosh, I'm slowly converting my husband, guys. So Andrew, if you're listening, I'm so proud of you. But he is like a brand Nazi, like lack of a better word, literal brand Nazi. It's got to be the Colgate whitening toothpaste and nothing else. He's like, used it for 25 years. That's all he's ever going to use. The other day, literally he came up to me and he's like, you're going to be proud of me. I saw in the spare bathroom that we had 5 toothpastes that were just not being used. And instead of buying a new Colgate whitening, I decided I'm just going to use up those toothpaste rolls. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yay, Andrew.
So thank you. Because we all know that I'm a brat and I only use like fluoride-free Tom's, baking soda. Like, so.
Wait, doesn't Tom's have fluoride? They duped me. I bought them recently and no, I didn't even catch it. I think my husband caught it. He was like, you bought something with fluoride. And I have to check myself because I think it was Tom's, but yeah.
I don't know. Whatever one, I always double check. So maybe it's not Tom's brand.
My bathroom is so simple, but I feel like I'm one of the most basic women out there.
Well, you're almost a 2. Like you're going back to the 2, okay?
Going back to the minimalism scale.
So what do you do in your bathroom so mine can look like yours?
Okay, so
help a sister.
Help a sister out. So my husband and I use the same brand of shampoo and conditioner. So
Brilliant.
That's easy. And we only use that. So we have just, 1 bottle of each and a bar of soap. Like we get locally handmade soap. So it's like really natural and pure and organic and, the best. But yeah, so we just use that. And I don't use any kind of like shave cream. I just use soap. Like soap is my jam. So we have shampoo, conditioner, soap, razor in the shower, and that's it. And then 4 towels, a few rags, and we don't get a new towel every time we shower.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Yeah.
How much laundry do you go through if you use a new towel every single day?
Gosh, oh my gosh, you would need to stay home and never leave the house just to keep up with your workload.
Laundry. No, you're clean when you get out.
Dishes.
So dry off.
Yeah.
It's still clean.
Yes. If you're doing it right, that towel should still be clean.
Yeah. I think another one too is like for me, my problem is my shower is like filled with all the goodies. I got like 3 shampoos and 2 conditioners and a leave-in conditioner and a body wash for morning that's like cotton candy smells, and then one in the evening that's like a organic tea tree, calming, soothing de-stressor. So I have so many things in the shower and it's ridiculous. Like I'll go to grab something and knock over 3 bottles. This is not bringing me joy. This is like
frustration.
It is not making anything simpler in my life. So this is where I have to minimalize is my shower. So I don't know how many ladies out there can feel me on this, but I feel like it's more common than anyone wants to admit what their shower looks like with all their stuffs. You have like one thing for the body and then hair and then this. And so I really like yours that you're like, nope.
Very simple. Yeah, we found what we liked and we cut out all the rest.
That's brilliant.
So yeah, that, and then I don't know, the little bathroom closet, tackle that if you want. I don't even know what other people have. I have a hairdryer, curling iron, straightener, 1 brush. But I mean, yeah, it's pretty simple too. So
I wish. I have like, again, I'm a hairstylist. So I have like 3 curling irons, all different sizes. I got a crimper. I got a straightener. I got some other weird tool I don't really ever use. It's like a spiralizer. And then, of course, like 5 different brushes. I got a pick. I got a like a teasing comb and a this and a that. So
I do have a tease comb. You got me there.
Yeah.
But yeah. So, okay, bathroom, that's pretty easy to minimalize if you want.
Yeah.
Just pick your favorites and cut out the rest.
Yeah, because there's nothing more calming than getting in your shower and it looks simple. right? Like you
Yes.
see these beautiful homes on cribs and it's like their shower looks gorgeous.
Well, yeah, that's supposed to be a stress relieving thing, is just to have the water rain down on you and you're in there without distractions. You can't take your phone in there.
You're not like chicken winging over a bunch of shampoos like me.
Yeah, it's supposed to be kind of a mindful experience. So if you do it right.
Yep. So minimalize your bathrooms. How about bedroom? This is going to be tough, I think, for a lot of people.
Yes, that's probably my weak point too.
Yeah.
Just with clothes, because I've always loved clothes and it's hard for me to part with them, but I'm getting a lot better. But yeah, so that's when the KonMari method, isn't it?
Yeah, the KonMari
What
method.
you said, like you hold it and if it doesn't bring you joy, you donate it.
Yep, exactly. So you have to touch it, and if it sparks joy, so like you pick up a dress, and if you don't feel that like, I love this dress, like spark of joy, you don't love it and it's got to go.
Yeah.
And purge.
Yeah. And you don't want to keep it for any what if situation.
Yep.
Because in your what if situation, I'm sure you'll be more than happy to wear something that you actually love.
Yeah.
So only keep what you love. And there's another rule that says in whatever, any area in your life, just touch it once. So if you're going through your clothes, don't put anything aside and say, oh, I don't know, I can't decide right now, I'll decide later. Don't do that, because that leads to hoarding, which is a mental disorder.
Not good.
And can lead to a whole slew of problems. So yeah, touch it once, decide on the spot, and move on.
Yeah, that's a good one. Otherwise, we get wrapped up in like overthinking it.
Yeah.
So my version of minimalizing, like with the bedroom, when we moved into our house was, well, I'll make my bedroom really simple and minimize it by taking all my clothes and turning a bedroom into a closet. I was like, that's how I minimalized my bedroom at first. I was like, there's nothing in my bedroom because all my clothes are in a whole nother room. And it didn't work either, because then I started bringing in like other stuff, you know, like my nightstand table got full of like, I had like a diffuser and a candle, and like all these things started showing up on my bedside table, books and notepads. And
I know.
it was just like this never ending thing. So it really is like a mind state to be in. So now I'm purging all that. And a big thing for us was TV. Like we only have one TV, which we have a 3-bedroom house and only one TV. I just refuse to put TVs everywhere. I don't need them.
No, and they're just distracting.
Yeah. So that was my minimalist compromise when I first started getting into this mindset. Because originally when we moved in, we're like, well, now we need a TV for the bedroom and we want to hang one up in the office, and maybe my closet glam room should have one. And we settled on one.
That's awesome.
That's a big thing.
Yeah. We just have one too. And I think it's important to not have one in the bedroom.
Yes.
Because I mean, that's where you sleep. So you need to go to bed mindfully and wake up mindfully. And, you know, also if you're in a relationship, then that's kind of your sacred space to get away from the world. And if you bring the world in with you, like Donald Trump on your TV screen, what is that going to do to your relationship?
Yeah, exactly. You need calmness and peace in that room. So minimizing your bedroom, I think, is huge. When you walk in and, you know, not having personally like 15 pillows on the bed, right? Like just the ones you need, and your nightstands being nice and clear and ready for like the cup of tea that you're going to put on it, and one book that you're really enjoying and you see it, and not having, you know, dressers full of gunk and stuff and shelves full of things, and really just like keeping it clean and simple. I think it brings that peace, like you said, sleep better.
So this goes into, well, tying back into my our intentions episode, when I said that I finally got back into reading. I'm finally a reader again. But a couple weekends ago, I turned off my phone or left it in the other room and went to sleep reading a book. So like for 2 hours before bed, I was like reading this book that I loved, and then woke up the next morning. My phone was still in the other room. So before I even checked it, I picked up my book and read for another 2 hours. And I kid you not, that was the happiest weekend of my life.
Oh my gosh, that's brilliant.
Because normally I wake up and it's like, okay, I need to start working. Let's check email and social media, and
before you know it, 2 hours are wasted.
Yeah. And it just, when that's your first impression of the day, or that's how you wake up, it's, I don't know.
It's just brilliant.
Skews your thoughts.
Yeah. So keep your bedroom super simple and only bring things in that really like light you up and bring you joy and peace.
Yes.
So that's a good one. And then what about the living room, like your living space? Any tips for that?
Yeah. Oh, plants. definitely have plants. Well, and you can't really be a minimalist when it comes to plants because the more the merrier. They purify the air.
That's why you're not a 1 on the minimalist scale, because you hoard plants.
We hoard all the plants.
That's an okay one, I think.
Yeah, but they're good. They're good for your soul, and they purify the air. So that's a good one to have.
Exactly.
But yeah, just a clean minimal. Just a clean space.
A clean living room. No, I agree too. I think that's a space that can get cluttered. I think paperwork is like the big thing, and like your dining room and living room, right? Your living space, like you start having piles of mail and junk mail and bills and all these things that like just start piling up everywhere. So I think my rule that I'm trying to like with the minimalist thing is like if like getting off these mailing lists and switching to like online stuff and or like no bills sent to the house kind of thing, just to avoid all that clutter of paperwork.
Yeah.
Because that is so unnerving.
Yes. And I think a lot of times the living room is the entryway of most people's houses. And so it's the drop spot. Like they drop their purse or their shoes, briefcase, mail, like you said, or whatever else. And it's just like in a day or two, it's a junk spot.
Right.
So
exactly.
you just walk in the house, like put things away right away, and then you don't have to fret.
Right. And if you have less to begin with, or you're bringing home less, you ever feel like you go out to your car and then you have more to bring in than you left with? That happens to me all the time.
Yes.
And I'm like, why am I bringing more stuff into this house that's already full?
I know. Like, where did it even come from?
And the other thing too for me is I know a lot of people are so similar. Everyone has like knickknacks that they collect, right? Like how many people collect, like I used to collect shot glasses, or people collect like they love cows and they have like cow, towels and ornaments and little cow figurines everywhere. I have like gotten so far away from being like a collector of anything because it just brings more stuff in.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I was like, I love shot glasses and I get one everywhere we went. And then it like took over this whole cupboard. And I'm like, okay, this is ridiculous. Like, why am I doing this?
I know it is ridiculous. But like I switched. So I wasn't able to, or I wasn't ready at the time to like fully give up on that. Cause I was like, I still want like a little reminder or a souvenir of everywhere we go.
Right.
So I started getting like tiny little things.
Yeah.
And for a shelf, like a little wall shelf that has a million different little tiny cupboards. And I was like, okay, I can handle like 2 feet by 2 feet of
that's not bad.
like collectibles, but nowhere else. Like if it's anything bigger, it's gotta go.
Andrew was starting to collect beer steins.
Oh,
and
gosh,
he's up
that's
to
big.
like 10. And I'm like, no, we have no more room for these. Like you get to keep your favorite ones. And like, you're not just going to buy one to buy one. Like only the best, only ones that you love.
Was he getting like aluminum ones? Like really
like when we go to
beer
Europe,
steins?
like in Germany and stuff like that.
Like the real deal.
Yeah, the real deal. They're expensive and they're
Nice.
beautiful. But he doesn't. I'm like, if you buy this and it's $150, can you please drink one beer out of it? Like, can you just do something with it?
Hey, this stein wants to be used.
That's what it's for. So yeah, souvenirs and collectibles and things like that, I think in the living space, really kind of like you have to do some deep soul searching and really analyze if collecting those things really do bring you joy or if you just like the item it represents. Like I love pigs. And so people would buy me like pig things, like a piggy bank and a pig figurine. And it got to the point where I'm like, okay, you guys, I just love pigs. Like I don't love things. I just love the idea of pigs. So if you could just text me a photo of a pig, that will make me just as happy as like a figurine.
Yes. The thought. That's all in the thought.
So yeah, that's a good one. And then last one I wanted to bring up is technology. Decluttering our technology from our phones to our inboxes to our laptops. I think the internet is fantastic, but it allows for more space of clutter, right?
Yeah. Like I was saying earlier, I went to open my web browser on my phone and I was looking for this one tab that I had left open. I kid you not, to get from the bottom of my list of tabs to the top of the list, it took 8 swipes.
Oh my gosh.
On my phone. I was like, okay, this needs to go. And I was tempted to hit the one button that closes all of them. But I was like, I'm not ready. Like, I think there's some good info in there. So.
I'm just as guilty. So if you're listening and you're one of those people that has like 15 to 20 tabs open on your internet browser, I feel you. I even do it on my laptop.
Letting go.
Definitely do it on my laptop too.
Yeah.
I have like Safari and Firefox open and each of them has like 8 tabs.
It's just this weird attachment. I'm like, what if I never think of that thing again or that idea again? I'm like, well, then it probably wasn't meant to be. Wasn't that important.
Right, exactly.
So, yeah.
And then
maybe.
pictures on my phone are the other thing. I like try to go to find a picture and it's like stamped in between, 15 selfies that all look exactly the same, but I couldn't just pick the one I liked. And then I have 15 that almost look right. And then it's smashed into screenshots and oh my gosh, I think I have like 12,000 photos on my phone. It's ridiculous.
Too. And I've gotten to the point where I make folders for each one so that I can, or each topic so that I can somewhat find them.
Oh my goodness.
Sooner.
That probably took time too.
Well, okay, so that did, but now I have so many albums that it's the same problem. I'm still like scrolling to find, things have got to be deleted.
Yeah, in my inbox. I'm at like 7,000 emails.
And like you said.
And I don't even open them, so why am I still subscribed?
I know. We've got to unsubscribe. I've gotten picky about who I give my email to now. Like I'm like, oh no, I don't have time for that. I don't want to think about you every day. No, sorry. But I do need to unsubscribe to some.
Yeah. Technology minimalizing is going to be huge.
Yes.
So I love all those. Hopefully you guys got some good tips and tricks out of that too. And this is an ongoing process, even for the two of us. So as you guys continue listening every week, if we ever have any updates on our minimalistic lifestyle and how it's going, we will totally share with you guys, keep you inspired.
Yes. Yeah, but your upgrade for the week actually revolves around that. We want you guys to pick the one area of your life, whether it be your kitchen, bedroom, or your inbox or whatever. Pick your one area that gives you the most anxiety and the thing that you probably avoid because it's such a mess, and tackle that. And hopefully we gave you a couple tips you can use, but if not, scour the internet because everyone is going through this minimalistic. I don't think anyone can say it 3 times fast. Anyway, everyone's going through this. So there's plenty of resources online. So tackle your one big issue, big area.
I think if you can get through that hardest, most anxiety producing declutter, everything else is going to be so easy and you'll be like on a roll, right?
Yeah.
I did that one time with my inbox and I felt so good. And then that's kind of how I got inspired to do all the rest. So work in progress. Take the WAC upgrade challenge for the week, guys, and then tag us or share with us when you actually do it. I want to see people's inbox with a 0 notification instead of,
wouldn't that be amazing?
Instead of 6,000 like mine. Every day it's growing.
Make it stop.
So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. We gave you some tips and tricks. Share with us. We love connecting with you guys on Instagram and Facebook. Email us. All of our info is in our bio on Instagram. Tag us in your transformations and your closets and your kitchens. Share with us maybe some tips or tricks that you guys have done. I love hearing from people on how they have, been inspired and maybe changed a few things around their home. And that can help us too.
Yeah, a decluttered mind is a happy mind. So go declutter.
Absolutely. And then also make sure that you leave us a 5-star review. We absolutely love and appreciate you guys leaving us reviews and connecting with us and telling us what you love about the podcast. And just make sure that you're giving us some good feedback. We totally love it and connecting.
All right. So whether you're cleansing or celebrating, cheers.
Thank you for listening to the Wheatgrass and Champagne podcast. If you loved today's episode, make sure to subscribe and leave a 5-star review. Join the Wheatgrass and Champagne community on Instagram, Facebook, and wheatgrassandchampagne.com. Details from this episode can be found in the show notes below. Tune in next Wednesday as we continue to seek the perfect balance between indulging and upgrading. Until then, cheers.